From the central coast of New South Wales, Australia, it's the #1 podcast for the X-Men animated series. This is Generation X-Men with Bender and Brooksy.
Thank you, Steve. This is Generation X-Men. I'm Ben, and with me as always is Brooksy.
Hey, hey.
Like the name suggests, we are Generation X-Men, and you are too. If you're new to this, what we'll be doing is going through all 5 seasons of X-Men the animated series, one episode at a time, giving you our thoughts, a little X-trivia, some special segments, and mostly and importantly, having a bit of a laugh as well. Yeah, it's all fun here at Generation X-Men. Just a little reminder, we are just generally and only familiar with X-Men the animated series and the movie series, the live-action one, so we're not, want to say up front, we're not comic book aficionados, so any sort of X-facts that we get wrong, please let it slide, because we've got the encyclopedia, and that's about it, right?
Let us know, though.
Yeah, keep us informed, but yeah, I don't want any death threats saying, oh, that's not his or hers powers, and it's blah, 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 you know how it is. I just wanted to point that out just in case we're fudging anything and like that. But yeah, we haven't got time to pour over 60 years of American comic book literature. But we do have time for a 22-minute long episode of the animated series. And yeah, this one's Deadly Reunions. Also want to clear up, that is not my voice at the start of the episode introducing it.
Yeah, sure.
It's not. Don't you feed that fire. It was your brother saying that that's me. Michael, it's not me. I can't do an American accent that good. That's my buddy Steve doing it. And there's no post-production mixing just to get it there. I swear to God, it's straight up not me. But anyway, on to our Deadly Reunions. Oh, hang on. Before we do that, we should mention that we're a little late this week in getting the podcast out.
Yes.
But yeah, don't fret about that. We're right on top of it now. I had stuff to take care of. So yes, it's me letting the team down here, not getting the Thursday release date. The last couple, they've been primarily on Thursday. It was like, well, it was by accident. We didn't say, oh, we'll release them every Thursday. It's just normally record on Mondays. I waste time doing my editing, and by the time it's ready, it's usually just Thursday. That being said, I've had to listen to it a couple of times, send it to Brooksy for final thoughts and appraisal, and then by Thursday it's ready to go. But yeah, we'll try and get it up for you Friday in Australia, that is. But anyway, it's Deadly Reunions, a follow-up to Enter Magneto, so it's time for X-Quiz.
Pop quiz, Hotshot.
Pop quiz! Pop quiz, asshole.
Time for a surprise quiz?
Won't be a pop quiz on Wednesday. There's a pop quiz. Pop quiz.
All right, Brooks, what do you got for us? You'll kick it off because, again, I think this one was pretty slim pickings.
Yeah, not as much to pick up again.
Trivia. I've got 2 questions. Chances are...
they're probably the same as mine.
They're probably the same. So I may get these answers pretty quickly depending on how obscure the trivia is on Brooksy's side.
So to start off with, did you find any letters this week?
I didn't see any letters.
Neither did I.
So, yeah, if they were running a little Easter egg hunt for us, they're pretty slack in this one.
They might have skipped this one.
They might have skipped this one.
So we'll keep looking.
Keep looking, but yeah, no hidden letters this time around.
Okay, so my first question, at the start of the episode in Sabretooth's mind, there's a guy in the middle of the group in an orange shirt, and he has a logo on his shirt. What is that logo?
I didn't see that. I was too busy looking at the faces and seeing if they were anybody from any past episodes. I didn't see any logos. Oh, God. What are the logos we've been through so far? It wasn't an eagle. We have had the Stonemasons logo. Is that right?
Freemasons.
The Freemasons. Stonemasons, Simpsons. That's a different bloody TV show. The Freemasons, just based on that, I'll just say it's a Freemasons logo.
No, this one's a Spartan helmet.
A Spartan helmet?
Yep.
That's weird. Has that got any reference to anything? Oh, there's
a lot of sporting teams that are Spartans, so
okay.
I assume it's one of them.
Oh, well, there you go. My question now, isn't it? What's in the episode they the Senator Kelly talks about the raid on the missile base. Do you know what it was called?
I wrote that down and then I crossed it out and said, "Oh, we don't need to remember that." But clearly, I do.
Yes, we do. Bender's got the answer.
What did it start with?
I'm not can't give that away.
It's a name, isn't it?
It is a name. Okay, yeah. It starts with the letter D.
That still doesn't help me. I thought it had come straight to me when I knew the letter. Oh, man. I'm going to have to pick up my X quiz game.
Oh, well, you're not the only one. I didn't get the Spartan thing. So you want it? You want the answer?
Yep.
It's called Drake Missile Base.
That's it. Damn it.
All right, you'll get me back.
All right, what was the name of the chemical plant?
Yeah, unfortunately, I do know this
Yeah.
one. I wrote it down because it's pretty straightforward. It's Metro Chemical.
That's correct.
MC. But, yeah, that's pretty straightforward. But
Yeah.
they've even got a sign of it, so it's pretty hard to miss. And
it was on the alarm as well.
yeah, and if we're looking for trivia, we're going to look for signs on stuff now. So I'm going to have to be even more dutiful with my trivia because that was my trivia question as well.
Do you have any more?
No, I've had 2 questions of trivia here, and yeah, that's about it.
All right. Well, can you name any of the Easter egg guys at the start?
Oh yeah, the X cameos.
The cameos. That's the word I'm looking for.
Well, I there was a few. I think I knew. There was Deadpool.
Yes.
And there was Maverick.
Yep.
And I think there was about 2 others, but I don't know.
There was 6.
There was 6 all up. Sugar. Yeah, I only picked up Maverick and Deadpool, and the girl, I think she was the girl from Alpha Flight or whatever, but that's all I got, just those 2. So fill in the blanks for me.
The first 2 were Wolverine and Deadpool.
Oh, yeah, I remember Omega Red was there, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so I got 3. So Wolverine, Deadpool. Well, who was it in the first 2, sorry?
Wolverine and Deadpool
are
in the left and right hand corners. And then you got Maverick and Talos, which is the robot.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then you have Omega Red and Janice Hollenbeck.
Janice Hollenbeck.
Yes, so I did some other research on that. I'll bring it up later.
Oh, okay, we'll bring it up later.
Yes.
Never to do that because I want to know where she's from.
Okay.
And who else?
One more question I had is how many abs does Sabretooth have?
Well, I said last episode he had like an 8-pack, but now looking at it, it's probably close to 10 or 12. So I'll lock in 12. He's got a 12-pack.
Well, most of the scenes he had a 12-pack, but it did go down to 10 and 8 at some stage.
Oh, okay.
So anywhere between 8 and 12 is correct.
Mate, he's hitting the incline sit-up bench there to get those 8-packs shining because, he's a big dude in this. I wager he's bigger than Rhino in the Spider-Man animated
Yeah, he
series.
could take him.
He could he could take him. So is that it for X Quiz?
That's it.
So yeah, sorry again, gang. They're not giving us a lot to work with in terms of X Quiz. Otherwise, we could just start running off what's Maverick's real name or what's Omega Red's real name. But that's sort of cheating because that doesn't really appear in the episode, kind of like the William Shakespeare Bard question that I dropped the other week. So a little unfair, but we'd rather not go into what's Maverick's real name or blah, blah, blah. So we'll move on now. So it's time for the episode breakdown now, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Excellent.
So today we are doing Season 1, Episode 4, Deadly Reunions. Mm-hmm. The original air date for this was January 30, 1993. Mm-hmm. So having a look back, we had the first one on October 31st.
Yeah.
And then we had one November 7th, so that's a week later. Then we had the November 27th. So we skipped a couple of weeks.
All right.
And now we're into January.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, there was only the 3 episodes in 1992.
Yeah.
And then we started, it looks like every week then, from January 23.
Really? That's a real sort of stilted release.
So that's an interesting one.
Yeah, I wonder why that was. But, still, in Australia, we got them all back to back.
That's right.
Through the week.
We didn't have to wait.
Monday to Friday.
We did have to wait till 94 to actually see the first one, but...
But once we got it.
We got them all.
We got them all. We binge-watched the heck out of them.
So this one was written by Don Glutt and, again, directed by Larry Houston.
On you, Larry.
Previously on X-Men.
The terrible previously on X-Men just shows Magneto trying to break out Beast from jail and Beast saying he's waiting for his day in court. Beast has his bail denied, and then we get suddenly Sabretooth. And he throws the chairs at the guards. That's so great. And then we got Cyclops, took him back to the mansion, and then they ignored Wolverine's warnings. And Wolverine tried to stab him or something. They just cut away from that. And then Magneto tried to launch some nukes, but was stopped by the X-Men.
All right, yeah. So on our previous on X-Men, just a series recap at the moment. We're adding little pieces as we go on. We've established that Wolverine and Sabretooth have a history there. And that's all that I've really noticed. No other growth in terms of learning about more X-Men and everything like that. Cyclops and Jean still in the grey, as it were, in the dark, as to what sort of the extent of their relationship. There's a established history between Professor X and Magneto. But that's about it, really. That's all I'd have to build on the episode on our previously.
Yeah, this one sort of just follows on from the last one.
Yeah.
So they're usually grouped in two. So yeah, this sort of following straight on from Enter Magneto.
That's right, yeah. So that's about it for our previously on X-Men. Let's move on to the episode now.
So the episode starts with Professor X reading Sabretooth's mind.
Yeah, we start in the mind. That's a really interesting thing.
So yeah, you sort of jump straight in and you're like, oh, what's going on here? Oh, hang on, we're in someone's mind. Right.
Yeah.
So you get all those cameos there from the other guys.
Yeah, X cameos.
And Professor X morphs into Sabretooth. So he's like a hybrid there.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing we started breaking down we're in Sabretooth's head. So I think Sabretooth's in some sort of psychedelic liquid, and then we go into one of his past memories where he's caged up, right?
Yep.
And we can see all these goons are throwing stuff, teasing him, poking him, kind of like a circus scene. And Professor X psychic projection jumps into Sabretooth, and they merge and have a psychic link.
Yeah, and he says they can fight the demons together.
Yeah, and then the humans turn into the demons and they start fighting them off. Like, yeah, we're on the same side, sort of thing. Him and Professor X and Sabretooth being buddies.
So then Sabretooth breaks the psychic link and then goes straight through a wall, trying to hide behind a brick wall. So it's a bit of obvious metaphors.
Yes, built up a wall of defense, whether he's hiding what's really traumatizing him or the information that he's a double agent sent in there by Magneto, which is later revealed in the episode.
So yeah, it's very obvious metaphors.
Yeah.
So then that's all for that scene, and we go to an ad break.
Yeah.
We come back from the ad break, and Cyclops is giving a bit of a debrief to Professor X. So we've got here the Professor, Storm, Wolverine, but not the rest of the team.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the rest of the team are off again.
It's just a debrief from the people who were there.
Yeah.
And Professor X.
Which makes sense, yeah.
Well, he doesn't want to fill the rest of the team in with Magneto and that.
Well, they may be on holidays or something. We don't know.
They must be.
They're out of the mansion.
They're gone.
Completely missing in this episode as well. But I wanted to mention that they did a flashback to the last episode during the debriefing where they just showed the same footage again and had the mutants, the X-Men, talk over it. I thought that felt a little bit cheap. We had the previously on X-Men and then a flashback within the episode. It's like, yeah, all right, yeah, not that much time has passed since we last seen it all. But that's what I noticed about that.
Also in Professor X's office, he's got a library there with a ladder.
Oh.
Why does he need a ladder? Like, he's in a floating chair.
They can go at any height. He's got the ladder. I suppose just out of habit, just in case anybody else wants to read some of his ex-library.
During that footage of the last episode, there's a bub from there. Are we going to count that bub? Because it's in the other episode. It's in a second episode now.
Well, I'll leave that to you. I don't know if we should count it for this episode, because he doesn't say bub in this episode, does he?
I don't know. We'll find out at the end.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, we get that little scene of Magneto wants them to join his cause, but they just show a few seconds of that footage from last episode. The professor tells us that Magneto believes mutants are the next step of mutation from Homo sapien to Homo superior. Mm-hmm. Wolverine says, "Stuff the philosophy, let's go kick his butt."
I feel as though they wanted more grown-up lines in there.
Yeah.
Fuck the philosopher, let's go kick his ass. I feel as though
there's a lot of that in this episode.
Yeah, it's almost Wolverine wanting to swear so bad.
He's trying hard.
Stuff the philosophy, because that doesn't sound like an American thing to say, you know. It sounds more Australian to stuff that or stuff this, you know what I mean? Get stuffed.
The professor says he has good news and leads the team into the control room where Sabretooth is strapped to a floating chair in the middle of the room.
Before we go to that, I don't know if we count this as a claw draw. He gets one of his claws out to pop open a can of soda.
Yeah, or a beer or something.
Oh yeah, probably a beer.
That's what I thought.
They're all drinking except for Cyclops and Professor. Storm had a coffee, a big mug coffee, and Wolverine gets... I don't know if I want to count that as a claw draw.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, one claw, is that a claw draw?
I don't think so.
No?
It's a unnecessary use of his claw just to show that he has claws, but I think a claw draw means that he's got a line with his
Right.
when they pop out, or he's feeling some rage because when he's casually popping it out, it doesn't feel like a big moment. I think it's like a gunslinger draw.
So as soon as he walks into this room, we do get a claw draw.
There we
though.
go. We had to make
Bang.
up for the lost claw draw. He sees Sabretooth floating 12 feet high in the war room,
and he says, "Get him out of here."
as you would to one of your mortal enemies.
Get him out of here.
The professor says that he has been working with him on his rages, much like Wolverine, but there are some recesses that he can't penetrate. And then there's another claw draw, and he says, "I'll penetrate his recess." So I think he claw draws on like the right,
Yeah.
and then he claw draws on the left.
Yeah,
so they're both out now.
I'll penetrate his recesses.
And Sabretooth gets his first lines here. "What's wrong, Wolverine? No kiss and make up."
And then Wolverine says,
Kiss
this. I wrote down setups.
Yeah.
Everyone's setting Wolverine up to finish it off. So you can't penetrate, I'll penetrate it. And this says, kiss this. Really setting up Wolverine just so he could have his lines. I think the writer said, can we have a line where Wolverine says, kiss this? And they're like, then they have to reverse engineer the line to get there. That's what I noticed about that.
Oh, that's cool.
Real good.
So Wolverine says that they are old friends and even work together, but they had a misunderstanding.
Again, they're not going into detail about it. They're hinting about it, like, about this past, this history between the two.
And even Wolverine doesn't go into like specifics here. He just says he wasted some of my friends and I misunderstood.
Yeah. Yeah, he says, he wasted some of my friends and I misunderstood. But I think they're saving that because there's time to tell those stories.
It's a
later.
lot bigger story.
It's a much bigger story than what this episode really is. So I think they're smart into not going deep into it and deep into the exposition. But that's really cool. I like all these hints at Wolverine and Sabretooth's past.
The professor wants Wolverine to help with the next phase of Sabretooth's therapy.
Yes, that doesn't go too well.
And Wolverine says, "You got to be kidding me." And along with Sabretooth is here. He's not going to be here. He's leaving.
Yeah. So as long as he's here, I'm not. And he just storms.
He storms
out.
straight out.
He does a lot of storming out.
Jubilee tries to yell at him, but he doesn't even reply.
Doesn't want to hear it.
No.
I'm not hearing it. Not having that.
And the professor isn't too worried. He's more concerned with Magneto's next attack.
Ah, yes, of course. His enemy is the priority.
I think he actually says it's more important.
Oh.
There's Sabretooth's in the room. Wolverine's telling you he's a murderer and then leaves.
Yeah.
And he goes, "No, there's a better thing. Magneto's somewhere and he's gonna attack."
He doesn't care about the potential danger that they're in.
No, he knows Magneto's coming again.
Mm-hmm.
So now we cut to Magneto in his base, I guess it is.
Magneto home base, so he's got the big view screen.
It sounded like he was in a drain pipe.
I'm not sure if that room of his was soundproof when he bought it or hired it or whatever he is, but it felt weird. I mean, they've got to put the villain somewhere, but I just didn't see him shacked up at a hotel or something.
No.
But it's interesting to see what they wanted to do with him. He's going through the keyboard and finding places. Where should I attack?
Yeah,
next?
he's looking for a place with plenty of humans for his next attack.
Yeah, and he settles on...
He picks Metro Chemical.
Chemicals.
All those chemicals, without them, life would be impossible. Do you reckon that's what that says under Metro Chemical? That's their little tagline?
Maybe. I don't know. It could be a character line that Magneto's a bit of an intellect and appreciates science and chemistry. Because later on it's paid off that magnetism and electricity are related. So it could be setting up Magneto's intelligence.
So Magneto just shows up at the plant and causes a bunch of leaks and fires. And then he comes through the ceiling into the chemical. Like, if you could cause all those stuff from outside the facility, why would you want to go in there with all the fumes and fire and everything? Like, really? Don't go in there.
I don't know. It just looks cool, I guess. He's a fan of pulling pop rivets out of things.
Oh, isn't he? What?
Yeah. He goes ping, 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 ping off the big tanks and off the pipes, and that's one of my favourite things. All the pop rivets coming out and the screws and shit.
So the professor is halfway through explaining how they're scanning all the frequencies for Magneto when the alarm goes off of Metro Chemical, and the professor says, "Oh, he's challenging me."
It does certainly make it about him in this episode. He's calling me out specifically.
So then he just says, Jubilee, you better look after Sabretooth again. Because the 13-year-old, like...
You did so well last time. You didn't break out. We're putting you in charge again.
You got to look after the psychopath, who is now awake and alert this time.
You make it sound so much worse. Because it is. It's straight up worse. He's awake.
That's right.
He's confined this time, but he's still a psychopath with claws and teeth.
So now we must face the Master of Magnetism.
Is that a first, where he refers to him as the Master of Magnetism, or did they have it in the last episode?
I don't think they said it.
I think this is a first.
Yeah.
This is the first time we hear Master of Magnetism. First, but not the last.
So then we get the build music. And
let's get the rev up.
We get the blackbird, and it flies out of its cliff top hangar for the first time. I remember that a lot.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It's the first time of that.
It goes out the cliff garage entrance there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Is this the first for that?
That's the first for that.
Excellent.
So the X-Men show up. Cyclops blasts a hole through the side of the building, and then they all come in. Magneto's disappointed because it's only Cyclops, Rogue, and Storm. There's no Professor X.
Okay, so there's one extra person that challenged them since last time. Because it was Cyclops, Storm, and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Now they've got one more. So I'd be disappointed if I was Magneto. I've already beat you 3 so easy last time. Now you've got the babe with you, the Southern babe. What's this going to change?
Nothing. Yeah, because Cyclops just does the same thing and shoots at him, and he just puts up the force field. And and Storm blasts him with lightning. Magneto just absorbs it and says,
"Have you forgotten that electricity and magnetism are related?"
Yes. That's something I really remember going back to when I first seen it, because it's such a... Wanted to use that as a fun fact if anybody asked me in school or any questions about magnetism.
Okay, this is where you learn it.
This is where you want to learn, but I don't even know if that's right, but it could be.
So Rogue gets knocked into some barrels. She tries to punch him.
Yeah, she charges in and he just gives her the chest.
Yeah, gives her the old spirals.
Yeah. Gives her the spirals and barrels her.
And Magneto hits a tank with his powers, and green gas comes out to overcome Cyclops.
Yeah, gas is often green in cartoons, isn't it?
And all the chemical as well is all green.
All the chemicals are green. That seems to be the popular colour of chemicals. But yeah, Cyclops is down for the count after inhaling all that.
And then Magneto knocks Storm into a wall, and then starts to cover her with the bricks and that, which makes Storm have a bit of a flashback to when she was a young child.
Yeah, that's not explained, but it looks as though flashback is a similar thing happening when she's a kid, and it's crippling to her. She just can't move. She's just shocked and in shock and can't defend herself. So she's really afraid of crumbling things. I wonder if she's claustrophobic.
So Rogue gets up from the barrels and says, "You just can't get close to some men." And she flies over to try and stop the wall from falling on Storm.
Yeah.
You were saying, why didn't she just pick up Storm?
Yeah, often superheroes will always try and stop the wall. You know, it'd be quicker and probably save a lot of strength if you just saved the person. Just duck in and out, but then again, you've got no drama. It's more dramatic if they try and stop the wall. But
and
yeah,
she can't.
Because they're bricks, all the other bits fall away and that all comes crumbling down on them.
And then the Professor uses his mind powers to tell Magneto to stop.
Yeah.
Then he appears in the same hole that Cyclops came in from the side of the building.
You wanted me, here I am. So, that's the big confrontation, everything that we've been waiting for, which maybe you could have led with that, Professor, and Cyclops wouldn't have got gassed.
That's right. All the team wouldn't have got hurt.
Yeah.
You could have just come in and said, "Can you please come out here, Magneto?"
Let's take this outside.
Oh, we did miss those Magneto quips earlier where he's like,
"I wonder how you'll look, Charles, after so long. Perhaps a toupee."
A toupee, perhaps? What a smart ass. So I reckon in this there is a bit of an age gap between the two.
So yeah, we come back from the ad break and Rogue breaks out from the rubble and lifts the wall off Storm, who is still unconscious. Mm-hmm. And then she has the line,
"Come on, baby. Don't do this to me. Those bricks weren't that heavy."
Oh, I want to go back. I've got to backtrack. Right after he's wiped out all the X-Men, Magneto says, "How long before you face me?" and he gives the wall a bit of a shoulder beam. That's what I thought was really cool. He just flexes his shoulder, and the magnet energy wipes out the wall. Just wanted to bring that up because I thought that was cool. But yeah, those bricks weren't that heavy. Yeah, for you, Rogue.
Then Rogue then notices Cyclops is also unconscious in the middle of the floor.
Yeah.
And she flies over and puts her ear to his chest, and she starts doing CPR.
Yeah. And she goes, you're not going to like this or something like
You're
that?
not going to like this, but it's better than not breathing.
Yeah.
And then the best, like, come on, pretty boy, make a girl feel welcome.
Oh, man, she's just the best. All right. Rogue's close to being my favourite besides Cable now, because she seems to have all the funny lines as well, and she's smoking hot. She's a smoke show. Big time in this. Big time.
So she starts to give Cyclops the CPR, and she's actually using the 2 breaths to 5 compressions. 2 breaths.
Is she really?
I think that was the go in the 90s, because it's changed now because it's 30 to 2. But
yeah,
it was different back then. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Oh, well, that's neat then.
Yeah.
That's medically accurate.
I thought that was good.
I was also saying that because she's super strong, she probably could just push down with her 2 fingers or something. If she pushed down any harder with both hands, she'd bloody punch a hole in his chest. Yeah. Break some ribs.
So, yeah, then she says, don't worry, I won't tell Jean. I just hope that...
Yeah, that's right. So we get a little bit of... Okay, Jean and Cyclops are together because she would be jealous if they all got mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. I think she'd just be happy that Cyclops is alive.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Well, what you hooking up with Rogue behind my back? So, baby, she was giving me mouth-to-mouth. What was I supposed to do? But yeah, she absorbs the optical blast.
So she's got the beams coming out of her eyes, which seem to throw her all around the factory.
Yeah. It's got a lot of propulsion behind it.
She's a lot stronger than Cyclops. So why does it not affect him?
Well, maybe he's got traps like Tom Hardy, or whatever. He does shrugs for days. Or because her strength, because she's super strength, maybe she's got super strength optic blast, so it's coming out at a velocity.
That sounds better.
That is, it's been heightened. So the optic blast has been heightened. That's what I would think would be a pretty good argument as to why it's tossing around all over the place.
I thought about it might be like surprising her, but you see, like in the scene at the pool hall where they surprised Cyclops by knocking his glasses off, he still didn't fly around. He just blasted the pool table.
Yeah, it also could be because she was floating at the time. Or she's in air. So once you're in air, if some force is shooting out of you, maybe it would propel you backwards. But I'm sticking with the super strength optic blast. That's good. I like that.
So Rogue also puts her hands in front of her eyes to try and stop the blast. Wouldn't that just
would just cut her
decimate
fingers
her
off?
eyes?
Well, then you get super strength hands. So she just wouldn't destroy her gloves. But I thought that was funny.
And she's gone, how do I turn these off? Like, she hasn't had this conversation with Cyclops. Like, so how do your powers work, Cyclops? I open my eyes and optic beams comes out. If you ever touch me, you'll get that. So you might want to think.
Yeah, you think that conversation would have been had, but
no, she doesn't know how to turn it off. She doesn't know how to close her eyes.
I think that would be But yeah, again, we have to ask these questions so the audience knows how does Cyclops control his blast without, so he just yells out,
Your eyes! Shut your eyes!
Don't look, Marion, keep your eyes shut! That's all I thought of. That is all I thought of.
So we cut back to Magneto and Professor arguing over the war that he wants to start, and Magneto wants to create this war between the humans and the mutants, and why is the Professor on the side of the humans, and
he says something along the lines of it's better for us as a whole, and then Professor X throws his hands to the side, implying is this really what it's all about? And he's just
the destruction,
showing about all the destruction and the cowering humans. Is this really for the betterment of mankind? And he's upset about that.
So Magneto comes back with his lines.
When I was a child, my people talked while others prepared for war. They used reason while others used tanks, and they were destroyed for their trouble. I won't stand by and watch it happen again. I won't!
You really sort of side with Magneto, man. If anyone was pushed that far, they would fight back. But I wanted to bring up something here. When they're floating there, debris are falling down. His force field comes up
Oh, okay, because something's going to fall on him.
It auto-casts just as soon as something's about to fall on him.
Right,
so I thought that was really cool, I thought.
Yeah.
It's just like he's so in tune with his powers, he can still focus on talking with Charles floating there, and the power and the force field comes out when something's about to fall on his head. That's just a little animation thing that I noticed, which was also a really good character moment. It's just, he is the master of magnetism.
Yeah, he's always on top of it.
He's always on top of it, and it just, and he just didn't even care. It just didn't faze him at all. That was cool.
So then we get the scene where Magneto knocks Professor out of his chair.
Yeah, picking on the cripple. That's he had a bit of a not a very tough.
As he falls out of the chair. And then Magneto looks like he's going to kill the Professor, but then he uses his mind powers to
psychic blast,
make him relive his childhood painful memories where his parents were killed and his country was taken over.
Oh, yeah, that's extreme. Well, like, that's the thing, too. You can't mess with the most powerful psychic. He can make your life unpleasant, just give you a blast of your worst memories times 10, because it's just 100% focused on getting you off him.
And
so
Magneto's like pleading with him to stop, but he just refuses. Like, he could have froze him or anything. But no, you just relive the worst part of your childhood ever.
Taste it.
Taste that.
Mate, don't knock Professor X out of his chair. It really pisses him off.
And also, Magneto's wearing his helmet here too. So have we established that yet? That his helmet doesn't seem to block the psychic things in
I
this
think
cartoon?
that's a thing just from the movies.
Yeah.
Because in this, I think he gets got by psychic attacks quite often. But later on, Juggernaut, he's got a psychic-proof helmet.
Right.
But what's his name? Magneto doesn't, because Professor X just blasted him straight in the head with it. And I think the helmet's just there because it looks cool.
Because, yeah, if it did work, it would have been harder to take him down this episode.
Oh, yeah. No one else was coming close to him, so Professor X was the only one who was his equal. So, yeah, lucky Magneto didn't have a psychic-proof hat.
So Magneto can't take any more of his childhood, so he blasts a hole in the wall and escapes.
Yeah, piss bolts out of there real fast. Quick, smart.
And then, so we have Cyclops and Storm are barely conscious. The Professor's on the floor out of his chair, and Rogue's blinded because she can't open her eyes because she's got Cyclops' powers.
So, yeah, she comes flying in. She got Cyclops and Storm tucked under her arms.
Yep.
And, yeah. Oh, hang on. Yeah, Wolverine wasn't in there, right?
Nope.
Okay. So
no, he stormed out of the room.
Yeah, he's not playing with the team anymore. So he may have... I doubt he would have done much this time anyway, but anyway.
So Rogue flies over to the Professor with the other two, and the Professor uses his powers to summon his chair.
Yeah, use a bit of...
How does that work?
Yeah, well, he could be... we established it's not telekinesis, because he doesn't have the power to move stuff with his mind, so his chair just must work on brainwaves at times, that's pretty cool technology. If he can engineer that sort of thing to wake up in the morning, he just has to think about his chair coming towards him rather than rely on a remote control or whatever. I mean, I'll let it slide. I'll work in that he's made a mind control chair. And
did it need to flip back to him?
Yeah, it was upside down, so it comes right back to him, and it looks cooler.
And it doesn't show you how he got back in the chair.
Oh, yeah. So,
he must be doing plenty of push-ups too.
Yeah, he must be doing his upper body in the gym at the...
he's ripped as under that suit.
Oh, he's jacked. He spent some time in the gym. But yeah, he goes to Rogue, let me guide you, because your eyes, we can't trust those.
Yeah, so he finally does use his powers for good.
Yeah, helping someone else. Yeah, helping someone out.
And they get out of the factory just in time to see it explode. He also asks, like, oh, yeah, where are the workers? And they're like, oh, they all hightailed out of here.
They all bolted.
Yeah. And then they take the jet home. So I guess the Professor's flying the jet?
Yeah. He's a jet fighter. I think he can fly a plane. Oh, he's rich. I'm sure he would have learned how to.
Without legs.
I didn't even think. Well, I'm sure that there's a legless, I don't know, you can drive a car without legs. I'm sure if there's some machine.
It is his plane, so he's probably got it set up.
It's custom.
Yep.
I mean, there's a chair for the regular pilots, and then there's a chair for him, surely, because he can fly back.
So then we cut to Senator Kelly. He's having a press conference. He blames the president for the attacks on the chemical plant and
because of her failure
to nuclear launch. because she rescinded the Mutant Registration Act.
That's when we hear the attack on Metro Chemical and Drake.
That's right.
Missile base.
Yes. And this is also the first talk of the Mutant Registration Act.
Oh, okay. That's a big popular act that keeps coming back in the series and on films.
He's got that line, "Those unfortunate mistakes of nature are running wild."
That is a strong campaign, a strong line to build your campaign on.
So yeah, one of the journalists is like, "So what are you going to do about it?"
Yeah, this is where he declares he's going to run for president. And they're like,
"What?
A senator running for president? I've never heard of this before." I was like, was it that hard to believe?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so, but I suppose you have to.
So we cut back to the war room now, and Jubilee is watching the press conference.
Yeah.
And Kelly says he's going to put all mutants in containment camps.
Oh,
and that sort of sets Sabretooth off. He's not too happy.
That set me off as I was a mutant too. That's a real nasty line.
And so Sabretooth is struggling with his arm restraints, and he's hurt himself.
Yeah.
So he sort of lures Jubilee over to get him some help.
Yeah, she sort of feels for him first. Oh my God, your wrist, what's wrong?
Yeah,
it'll be fine.
And he's like, "Oh, the professor's treatments have been helping me. I'm not really that angry anymore. It's okay.
I'm not that mad." And she goes, "Are you going to settle down if I take this off?" And he goes, "Sure."
You gonna stay calm while I fix it up?
Sure.
And so then she opens the restraints and then instantly just grabs Jubilee.
Yeah, yes. She goes, "I'll go get something to fix that." He goes, "I heal fast." He grabs her.
He couldn't wait till she was out of the room to get completely out of the restraints. He's just like, "Bang, gotcha.
Yeah,
that's it. Get me out of the rest of them."
I like that bit.
Yeah, he says, "Lesson 1, never trust anyone, girly."
Girly? Yeah, he says that to anybody. I think calls a lot of people girly, all the female characters anyway.
And he's holding Jubilee's arms against her body, which somehow stops her from using her powers. She can't bend her wrists or something.
Oh, yeah, could zap herself in the leg or something, I guess.
And Jubilee's like, "Oh, what about your treatments?" Sabretooth's like, "I've been faking it."
I've been faking it.
Oh, it's great.
Could change me. I've been faking it. I've been waiting for the right moment.
He threatens Jubilee's life and tells her that Magneto has sent him here to the mansion to take it over.
Oh, yes, the big reveal.
Yes. Magneto knew that the mutants would be at the courthouse for Beast.
Ah, yes.
And then they take him back. So it's all been a ruse from the start.
Yeah. He's onto it, and that'd probably be the big secret inside the concrete walls that
he was holding from Professor.
That Chuck wanted to break into.
So then you see Wolverine sort of silhouetted in the darkness.
Yeah,
so
sneaking
he's not
around.
actually gone.
Sneaking around.
And so Jubilee lets Sabretooth out of the chair, and he says for a reward he'll finish her off nice and fast.
No.
Clean and fast.
Oh, ice cold.
Wolverine never should have let me live. I wish he was here so I could take care of his carcass too.
He smells the air, and then he knows that Wolverine is still here.
Oh, jeez. I wish I hadn't said that.
And then Wolverine appears from the shadows and says, "Be careful what you ask for, old buddy. It might just come true." Bang, claw draw.
Claw draw. Always got to have a big tough line on the claw draw. That's what makes it a claw draw.
So he tells Sabretooth to let the girl go. And he says, "Whatever you say, buddy." Just throws Jubilee across the room.
Head first, neck first.
Neck first.
Neck
straight
first
into the wall.
That was great. My neck broke my fall.
Luckily, my neck broke my fall. Wolverine asks why he's working for Magneto, and he says that he heard Wolverine had gone soft. And then you get that great Wolverine line, "All right, you egg-sucking piece of gutter trash."
I'm sure he says that again because that's a favourite. I think that becomes a catchphrase of Wolverine, the egg-sucking piece of gutter trash.
So you always like pushing around people smaller than you. Well, I'm smaller. Why don't you try pushing me? Wow. The egg-sucking piece of gutter trash is just from bloody Back to the Future 3, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know. I didn't pay much attention.
That one always reminds me of the ratings advice. It's on every video.
Oh, yes.
The Australian
they
one.
just go through the scenes of some booted up egg-sucking piece of gutter trash.
Yeah, that's from number 3, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
Back to
number
the Future
3. But I remember it more from that rating thing.
That's
than
what I was saying.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm not familiar.
That's the PG one.
Oh, right, is it?
And then you got M1 is Terminator 2. That's the La
really?
Vista Baby.
Oh, okay.
And then you got MA. What's that one?
I have no idea. I don't even
You
know.
can't remember this?
No, I do remember, as you're saying, but I don't remember what clips that they played for the rating system.
So the MA one was that someone was criminal as I. That's what I'm remembering.
Right.
Something like that. It was a white-haired guy. And then the third one was that Madonna movie with William Dafoe. Was that Body of Evidence or something
Body
like that?
Full of Evidence.
Yeah, that was the
William
MA.
Dafoe, the human tripod.
That's it. Yes.
Real subtle. I'll let you vote in. What am I making a reference to there?
Oh, that's great.
Nice.
So back to the Wolverine Sabretooth fight that we're finally going to get.
Yeah, we got it. They both charge in. Well, Wolverine charges in and is about to stab him. Sabretooth's got him by the wrists.
Yeah, Sabretooth's holding Wolverine by the wrists. Sabretooth kicks Wolverine off him across the room. And then he just gets back on top of Wolverine. So it's just roles reversed here on the other side of the room. And yeah, he's trying to stab him with his own claws. Like, why doesn't he just retract his claws?
Retract him, Wolverine. Get a headbutt in. But yeah, Wolverine's up against the ropes and he's scared as the claws are getting real close.
So then he does the double kick.
Yes.
Sabretooth knocks him over.
Whatever you do, I can do better, bub.
And then we cut to Cyclops, Storm, and Rogue arriving back at the mansion. And they all head straight for the infirmary. Cyclops and Storm grab a coffee.
Yeah, from the big...
that tastes good.
The big coffee dispenser, because it's a big mystery of what's in the... And I was like, it's just coffee? So that's a bit of a letdown.
And Rogue's wearing like the ruby sunglasses.
Yep.
Cyclops. Do you reckon he takes a pair of them on a mission with him just in case his visor gets broken?
Yeah, just in case he has to get into his civvies, I suppose. And Rogue takes them off and opens one eye at a time.
Yeah, couldn't she do that outside?
Yeah.
Like, if it hadn't gone away, she would have destroyed half the mansion.
Yeah, with that one bar, she could have zapped Professor or something.
And she could have killed anything.
This is a super strength optic blast.
Yeah, go outside and try that next time.
They don't care. Professor X is rich. So let's build another wall.
And then she sits down on the bed next to Cyclops and says, we'll have to do that again sometime.
Yeah.
And you get the little piano music.
We'll have to do it again sometime.
Yeah, well,
Sultry piano. That's the first. I'm sure of it, because that comes up later whenever someone's being sultry or sexy. You get the bling, 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 bling. But you can sort of hear it coming because it's got the accompanying strings at the start and then sultry piano. So that's the first. And I love that piano. It usually means that Rogue's done something that's pretty hot.
Sassy. Cyclops doesn't get a chance to respond because you see the loud thuds coming from the war room.
How would he respond anyway? Because Rogue's just a smoke show.
And Professor X just says, the war room.
Yeah, there's no fighting in the war room. I can't believe there was no reference there. That would have been awesome. I would have loved that. That would be a reference to Dr. Strangelove. Hey, gentlemen, there's no fighting in the war room. Why didn't they do that?
They should have.
They should have.
So we cut back to Wolverine and Sabretooth's fight. And Wolverine now does the same move as double kick. That's when he does double kick. It's there.
Oh, okay.
Does a double kick.
Got excited.
Tells him that second best... And it just doesn't cut it. And yeah.
Whenever I'm around, you're always second best.
That's the line. Yeah, and then he calls him Bob.
Oh, there's a Bob there. I
Bob.
went straight over my head. I better mark that down.
So Professor X comes in and just starts yelling at Wolverine for fighting with Sabretooth in the war room.
This is over.
And he says how his revenge is endangering the team.
Hypocrite.
And then Jubilee comes too from the side, and she's like, trying to stick up for him. Like, no, actually, Magneto sent him to kill everyone, and Wolverine's just helping us. And then, so Wolverine's distracted and by the Professor, and then he gets clawed by Sabretooth.
Yes, a real big, nasty claw that sends Wolverine across the room. That's heavy.
So Jubilee then jumps in and uses a fireworks to shoot Sabretooth through the wall.
Sabretooth goes in to finish off Wolverine, and you can see on Sabretooth's left hand there's some yellow spandex on there, so he got him. And
he got him good.
They got him real good. I thought, that's pretty gruesome, and he's about to finish her off, and Jubilee steps up and saves Wolverine by blasting Sabretooth out the window, which I thought was pretty cool. Jubilee gets to do something.
Yeah, and then Sabretooth just runs off into the night.
He's like, screw this.
And they don't, like, chase him or anything. Like, he could just be hiding around the corner until, like, 2 seconds later, jump back in.
Yeah.
No.
They're scattered. Couldn't send Rogue after him.
That's exactly what I thought.
Break his leg.
Rogue could have come, chased him.
Mm.
There's still the other two there to take him to the infirmary.
Yeah. Poor form. We think too aggressively, Brooksy.
And also, he knows where the mansion is now. They didn't know where the mansion was before this. So
okay.
The Professor could have tried to get back into his mind and wipe where he knows the mansion is.
Oh, okay. So the X-Men, they don't promote the school as a school for gifted youngsters then, because if following that logic, anybody could just look up where the mansion's at. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, there is no internet back here. You can't just look anything up.
There's 90s. I'm sure they had phone books.
As long as they don't put it in the phone book, no one's going to find it.
Well, yeah. Well, we have to explain that later. How did Bishop find them during that bit? But anyway, that's 2 episodes. That's a couple episodes away. It's a whole season away. So carry on.
Rogue takes Wolverine to the infirmary. He's unconscious. The Professor tells him that he was wrong. So yeah.
Yeah, they've got Wolverine taped up. He's got the bandages around his waist. He's also got bandages around his arms there. I want to know, how strong is his healing factor in this? Because in the movies, it's instantaneous. It's healed up straight away. And this one, he always got a long recovery if he gets slashed or gashed.
Yeah, and what does he need that bandages on his arms? There was no slash on his arms.
It might have clipped him. Because Wolverine's Sabretooth's got a really wide berth with those claws. It might have just clipped a few biceps on the way through, because Sabretooth doesn't mess around. He wants everything in the claws. But yeah.
So the Professor tells Wolverine that he's wrong, and he should have actually listened to Wolverine.
Yeah,
Wolverine's actually unconscious when he's telling him this, so he's not really telling him.
He's not really apologising.
He blames his passion for an ideal that all mutants can be brothers blinded him.
Yeah.
No, bullshit. He just wanted to go after Magneto.
Yeah. Hypocrite.
Yes.
He's still not liking Professor X in this, Brooksy.
No, still not.
Still on Team Wolverine forever.
Definitely. So he says they have failed, but they cannot afford to fail again, because he only managed to trick Magneto today.
Oh, right, yeah.
And so then the episode ends with another Magneto monologue, much like the last. And he realizes now that the X-Men will never join his cause. But he still believes thousands of other mutants will, and they'll stand with him and they'll destroy the X-Men.
So that is it. And that closes the 2-parter of Enter Magneto and Deadly Reunions. That's what it's called, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that closes that one off. So, what did you think, Brooksy? Overall thoughts about this one?
I thought there was still too much Magneto, not enough Sabretooth. Like, we just spent a whole episode on Enter Magneto.
Yeah.
And then we still get 3/4 of Magneto again in Deadly Reunions. So
yeah.
I think there should have been more Sabretooth, less Magneto.
Yeah, well, with the Enter Magneto, we spend a lot of time with Magneto, and for that one, I think we're really setting up the first meeting of Magneto and Professor X, and we address that pretty early in this episode. So we get all that out of the way with, and then we settle on the Wolverine and Sabretooth part. So you reckon the Magneto, there should have been even less Magneto than this one, because he got finished off pretty early, I thought, in this.
Yeah, I still felt that it was a bit too long.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because like the X-Men didn't even save anyone.
Yeah,
like everyone that he tried to hurt at the chemical plant just ran away themselves. The X-Men didn't help. They just come to fight Magneto.
Yeah, well, they're not a rescue team. I'll let the fire department deal with that or whatever. But I suppose that's a solid point. I was happy with the amount of Magneto and Sabretooth in this one. But leaving on Sabretooth, I think we really still I think it's Well, yeah, I think for me the lasting impression was of Sabretooth, but even though we get that Magneto monologue at the
he
end,
still comes back at the end.
yeah, it still feels like I think Magneto's trying to hijack this episode. I think there's a lot more gas in the Sabretooth story because I don't know, it seems a bit more personal. There's a bit more mystery about this one.
It was just the same with Magneto as what we got last episode. There was nothing new. It was just the same again.
Yeah, but I think it's a pretty fitting climax to the rift that we had between Professor X and Magneto established in the first one. But there
was also no Beast, no Gambit, no Jean Grey in this one again.
Okay,
and of the three, Gambit wasn't even mentioned.
Oh, but to throw any more, and I don't think we needed to visit Beast in the jail cell this time because that would have made it too crowded.
Gambit, or especially Jean, would have been a much better babysitter for Sabretooth.
Yeah, that would have made sense. I mean, well, then we couldn't have had the drama that we did. If everything goes to plan, we haven't got a TV show. But yeah, I want to know where they're at. That'd be interesting. Maybe they explain it in later episodes, or do they not? We'll find out next week. But favourite moments, favourite part and favourite quote. What have you got?
My favourite part was, it's got to be the Sabretooth Wolverine fight.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that was pretty strong.
Part. What was your favourite part?
Well, my favourite part is whenever Rogue's on, I just get excited. So when she was given the CPR, and it's not that bit, but when she accidentally blasts herself away, I really thought that was really neat.
Okay.
Because she's just trying to fight it and sending her all over the place. How do you stop? How do you turn them off? And that was my favourite bit. And did you have a favourite quote?
My favourite quote was one of the Rogue quotes. Either those bricks weren't that heavy, or come on, pretty boy, make your girl feel welcome.
I will go with, because it's the first time I hear it, you egg-sucking piece of gutter trash.
Okay.
That was probably my favourite quote, because it seems like a really obvious tough guy line and something he had to say to initiate a fight. So that gets my favourite quote for me. It's going very against character for me, because I normally side with Rogue. Anything she says is pretty much gold. And she had plenty of them this time.
She did. She had heaps of cool quotes this time.
Yeah, she was on fire. We got to mention that she's consistently pretty good. But Magneto's quotes. Can I redact my favourite quote?
You can if you want.
I will say that one is his whole spiel about my people used reason, they used tanks. That's probably my favourite because he comes across pretty strong. In what limited words he did say, that was probably really good too. That stuck out in my memory more. But egg-sucking piece of gutter trash, still very good.
Also, with that blonde woman at the start, Janice Hollenbeck.
Oh, yes, yeah. Who is she?
So, yeah, she appeared in the comics.
Yeah.
And she was sort of like a double agent in Germany, and it had some connection with to their enemy, Omega Red. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so Sabretooth he found out that she was stealing and selling secrets to both the United States and the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
So he killed her.
Oh, okay.
So that's why her head is in his mind.
Okay, was her and Wolverine tight together or anything like that?
I'm not sure of the comic, really, the story.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
But she's just in Sabretooth's head.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
There's someone he's killed.
Oh, okay. Well, I would like to have seen more about that. Who's the robot? Strife, was it?
The robot.
Does it say what he gets to do or anything?
Talus.
Talus.
Yeah, I didn't look him up.
Didn't look him up? Oh, okay. I'll do that in my own time. Rating for this episode. I'll go first this time since I've been offloading it to you every time. Again, this one doesn't have a lot of rewatch value for me. Coming up, there's some great ones coming up. For me, again, I'd say... For the Wolverine and Sabretooth, I'll go a 6 out of 10 for this one.
I'll go a 5.
5 out of 10, okay.
Yep.
Not enough Sabretooth for you to give it a 6. See, I like this one better than the previous one.
Right.
I think just for that bit of Sabretooth and Wolverine action, that was pretty cool for me. All right, it's time for segments, and it's time for the claw draw or tally time. And how many claw draws we've got? I've got counted here. I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got 4 claw draws. Is that what you got? Because I didn't count the single claw draw for his can of Coke or whatever.
Yeah, I had 4 as well.
Excellent.
So 4 plus the 11 in the previous ones is now up to 15.
I'm glad you're keeping up with the maths there. I didn't have any other segments because there was no sound effects that I noticed or anything else I wanted to bring up. Yeah.
So there was no Beast quotes.
No Beast quotes.
And the 2 bubs.
2 bubs.
So we had 1 bub in the Cyclops mission recap, and then the second one when he's saying you got to be second best bub during the fight. So do you want that to be 1 or 2?
Let's lock in 2. Why not?
All right, so 2 in this episode plus the 1 in the previous.
Yeah.
So that's 3. So no cool sound effects?
No cool sound effects that I noticed this time. There was no Sentinels, and I think there was one explosion that played a little bit of the Terminator 2 breaking through the wall sound effect, but they cut it off really soon, so I won't count that as a sound effect. I did want to mention Professor X's eyebrows.
Yes.
Because they taper upwards in a really sinister sort of way. That's just something that I really noticed about, we'll talk about character design a little bit. For Professor X, I don't know why they gave him the sinister tapering of the eyebrows that run right up the side of his temples there. I mean...
They look like a big M.
Do they?
Yeah, because they come up and down.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know what that meant. It's just, it seemed like a really odd choice to do because he's the nice, humble professor. Wants sorry. Well, he's a welcoming professor. He wants everyone to be a part of his team. He doesn't look that trustworthy. Maybe it's just...
he isn't.
He isn't. Maybe he is the greatest villain of them all. He's bald. He's in a wheelchair. We're ticking off a lot of traits that you find in villains here. Steely blue eyes and dark eyebrows, putting everybody at risk for his own benefit. This could be a start of our segment here. Professor X is really a villain.
There you go.
Alright, it's time for our social media shout-outs. Don't forget to rate and subscribe to us on iTunes and Podbean. Also, you can find us on Podcast Addict and Pocket Casters. Like and share our page on Facebook at Generation X-Men. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram at Gen X-Men Pod for some behind-the-scenes photos and videos. Or you can contact us via Facebook I am on the wall by email. Email is generationxmenpodcast, all one word, at gmail.com.
So next episode is Season 1, Episode 5, Captive Hearts.
Captive Hearts, a big Captive Hearts. I haven't got much to say about that one because I barely watched that one at all, man.
It's the Morlocks episode.
The infamous Morlock episodes. Yeah, see, I don't think I'll watch that one after, or to be honest, I don't think I had it taped on VHS even.
Okay.
I might have actually taped over that one. So this will be the first time I'll be watching Captive Hearts in a long, long time. So that'll be an interesting watch next week.
Look forward to that one.
Yeah, well, I'll look forward to watching that one with you too, Brooks. That's us signing out. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll catch you next week.
Take it easy. Thanks, Brenda.
Bye.